It's 17 hours Universal Time. From Washington, this is Talk to America on VOA News Now. Sitting in for Carol Pearson, here's today's Talk to America host, Rick Pantaleo.
The human mind is considered to be the most remarkable, complex, and mysterious miracles of nature. It allows us to fully function as human beings, giving us the abilities to think, express emotion, communicate, create, and conceive. But best of all, only we have the capabilities of controlling the functions of our own minds. Or do we? Is it possible that external control of the human mind has moved from the pages of science fiction into science fact? Is it possible that technology and knowledge exists that would allow others to tap into our minds to do their bidding? We'll find out as we talk about mind control on Talk to America. First, the news.
Live from Studio 18 in Washington. This is Talk to America with Rick Pantaleo.
Many of us have heard or at least thought of the concept of mind control. Rather, it was through science fiction books, movies, or magazines. But there are those who say mind control techniques have moved from the pages of science fiction into science fact.
Have you visited Talk to America's website lately? If you have internet access, we invite you to log on to www.voanews.com/talk. There you will find information on upcoming and past shows, links to listen to or watch Talk to America on your computer, and you can even meet our staff. Now, stay tuned and join us for today's Talk to America.
And I'd like to welcome my guests to our program today. First of all, joining me in studio, we have Professor Christopher Simpson. He is an Associate Professor of Communication at American University here in Washington, D.C. He has also written several books, including Science of Coercion, Communication, Research, and Psychological Warfare, 1945 to 1960. He also wrote The Splendid Beast, Money, Law, and Genocide in the 20th Century, and his latest book is called War Crimes of the Deutsche Bank. And welcome to the show, Professor Simpson.
Thanks, Rick.
I'd also like to welcome on the telephone, joining us from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, is Eleanor White. She is a semi-retired engineer, and she is working to expose and stop psychoelectronic experimentation on involuntary test subjects. And she has also created and maintained a website on this topic, and the web address is www.raven1.net. And I'd like to tell our listeners and viewers, if you have any questions, comments, or opinions, this is one of those topics that I think you probably have quite a few questions about. Please give us a call. Make the call collect. Our number is 202-619-3111. The U.S. country code is 1. Make the call collect, and we'll pay for it. Okay, first question, and I think I'm going to ask Eleanor White this question. Is mind control real?
Oh, very definitely. Absolutely. It's been real ever since the first MK Ultra survivor stepped into or was kidnapped into a laboratory.
And when was that?
That was in the 50s, according to texts on the subject like John Mark's Search for the Manchurian Candidate.
And, Professor, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What is your concept of mind control? Is it something real, or is it still science fiction?
Well, the term mind control is a very loaded term, and so sometimes it gets in the way of actually understanding these things. But Eleanor's main point that these types of drug-based and electric neural testing and manipulation programs do exist. They have existed for some time. She's right about that. There are some circumstances where these sorts of things become almost like torture, in prisons particularly, in so-called reform schools, in certain types of hospitals. Now, having said all that, most of the manipulation that occurs is done of groups of people, rather than just one or two people at a time, or even 100 or 200 test subjects. So Eleanor's right on the mark that there are these kinds of abuses. They're a very serious matter. but the main type of social manipulation is done by groups of people at a time, or done to groups of people at a time.
Once again, you mentioned, and I've seen through reading about this particular subject, that it is a wide area. I mean, some people even consider things like background music and television advertising, radio advertising as a form of mind control, brainwashing. Now, that's another term. Brainwashing, mind control. Are they exclusively the same type of thing, or are they separate from each other?
Well, I'm not sure that any of these words has some sort of precise definition. You know, if you look at the dictionary definitions, they're very similar. Mind control, brainwashing, even advertising. The real question is what do they do? Right? What effect do they have? How successful are they, and so on? How they fit into the bigger cultural pictures? And I think that there are types of torture that are used to take one person, say a spy or something, or a soldier who's been captured as a prisoner of war, and to brutalize that person psychologically until he or she does what the people who are holding that person prisoner want him to do. And that's true of both sides of the Cold War. It's true in many different countries. It's also true in the United States. Now, that's one sort of thing. Advertising, it has its purpose to induce you to buy things, or to, even deeper than that, to look at the world in a certain way, so that consuming things, buying things, having things is seen as admirable, a goal for life, you know, something that will bring you happiness and fulfillment. Well, I think most people, if they sat back and think about it a little bit, buying things doesn't really do that. But they feel compelled to. Well, they certainly feel induced to, right? And my own feeling is that the whole process it's much more organic. In other words, the idea of advertising and a lot of this cultural communication is to grow things and behaviors up from the inside, as distinct from imposing them on the outside. But this has one specific goal, to get you to buy their product. Yes, or to believe their vision of the world. And for example, if you watch, Coca-Cola commercials, Pepsi commercials, all of those, or automobile commercials, you'll often see that it says very little about the product. What it says is, this is pretty, this is beautiful, the women are supposedly beautiful, the men are supposedly handsome, so forth and so on, and they're all sort of excited, right, having fun, laughing, and lots of people say, well, gee, you know, I'd like to have fun, you know, I want to be one of those type of people. Exactly right, exactly right. And so, when you hear that message 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 times, which, you know, you can do in, 6 months, if you watch TV regularly, or, 1 year. Okay. Anyway, you can hear it a lot. Then many people start to internalize it, and it becomes almost second nature to think, oh, soda, happiness, youth, excitement. So therefore, I'm going somewhere, I want a soda. That's how advertising works. Now, while we're on the topic of advertising, and once again, Eleanor, if you know something that strikes something in your mind, let us know. Jump right in. But is this related also to subliminal messages?
Are you talking to me? Or
Yeah.
Well, what we're talking about has gone well beyond advertising by TV or anything as indirect as that. However, most of our members experience tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, and there is a patent by Oliver Lowry about a so-called clear channel continuous subliminal method for injecting the voice into the mind, which doesn't interfere with other sounds. It's not time slicing.
Eleanor, let's continue with that. And plus, I want to invite our viewers and listeners to give us a call, 202-619-3111. You're listening and watching to Talk to America.